Life doesn't change when things change. Life changes when you change. Have you ever felt like you're living on autopilot? Days go by, and it seems like nothing really happens. You try to take control, try to change, try to find peace, but deep down, something pulls you back to the same place. Anxiety, frustration, impulses. It's as if your mind is an invisible prison, and the worst part is, the key is with you, but you don't know where you put it. The good news? The greatest sages in history have been through this, and they found the way out. This video isn't about magic. It's about a real power that lies dormant within you. A power that Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca used to face wars, losses, betrayals, and still maintain a calm, strong, and peaceful mind. Today, you will discover how to change your mind using the same principles that kings, warriors, and wise men have used for over 2,000 years. And it doesn't matter who you are today. What matters is who you are willing to become. Because total transformation doesn't happen from the outside in. It happens from the inside out. And it starts now. You don't need a new world. You need a new mind. Imagine being the most powerful man in the world, commanding a vast empire, having an army at your disposal, wealth, respect, and authority. Now, imagine going through all of that, with chronic pain, terrible losses, and constant threats to your life. That's exactly how Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome and a disciple of Stoic philosophy, lived. While dealing with rebellions, wars, and even the death of his children, Marcus didn't seek refuge in luxury. He wrote. Yes, he wrote for himself, not to impress others, but to remind his own mind of what truly matters. You have power over your mind, not over the events. Realize this and you will find strength. This quote is not just beautiful, it's a survival manual. While the empire was crumbling outside, Marcus fought internally, not with swords, but with self-control, discipline, and reason. He knew the true enemy isn't out there, it's within, in fear, anger, attachment, and haste. That's why he trained his mind every day so he wouldn't be dominated by it. Marcus Aurelius could command kingdoms, but he knew that without mastering himself, he was lost. And if the most powerful man in the world needed to conquer his own mind, what makes us think we can live well without doing the same? You don't need to be an emperor, but you need to be the sovereign of your own mind. Because those who do not command themselves will always be commanded by their impulses, fears, and others. Today, you will follow in Marcus's footsteps. You will understand what he understood. And if you have the courage to apply it, you will discover a strength that has been silent within you, waiting to be awakened. The Stoic doesn't seek control over the world. He seeks freedom within himself. The first enemy, emotional reactivity. Your mind is like a wild horse, strong, fast, full of energy. But if you don't learn to ride it, it will throw you off. It will drag you along and make you run towards the abyss. This is how emotional reactivity works. It takes control and turns you into a hostage of circumstances. Think about it. How many times have you responded to something in the heat of the moment and regretted it right afterward? How many decisions did you make out of anger, fear, or anxiety that later cost you dearly? The problem isn't feeling. The problem is acting without thinking. It's when emotion becomes the commander and reason becomes the prisoner. The Stoics knew this. They taught that emotion is like a smoke signal. It shows there's something happening inside you. But who decides whether it will catch fire is you. Epictetus said, "It's not the facts that disturb us, but the opinion we have about them." In other words, the situation doesn't have the power to destroy you, but your interpretation, that can ruin you from within. Let's see a contrast. Imagine a person who lives reactively. They wake up already irritated. Traffic drives them crazy. Their boss throws them off balance. A comment on social media ruins their day. This person lives in time bomb mode, always on the verge of exploding. And the worst part, they don't realize they're becoming what they detest the most. Now imagine someone trained in Stoicism. They feel but observe. Someone provokes them. They take a deep breath. Something goes out of control. They accept what they can't change and act on what they can. This person isn't cold. They are free. They are not apathetic. They are strong. Because true strength isn't shouting. It's choosing silence when shouting is futile. This is your first enemy, reactivity. And your first mission starts today. Mission 1. Learn to observe before acting. Emotion is the signal, not the pilot. Next time you feel anger, fear, or anxiety, stop, breathe. Ask yourself, does this deserve a reaction or just my attention? That small space between feeling and acting is where Stoic freedom is born. At first it's hard, but with practice you'll start to notice the horse no longer drags you. Now you're holding the reins. The false belief, that's just how I am. How many times have you said or thought the phrase, that's just how I am? I'm stressed. I'm impatient. I can't change. As if that were a birth sentence carved in stone, unchangeable. But let me tell you a Stoic truth. Nothing learned is condemned to be eternal. Everything that has been molded can be reshaped. Epictetus said, "You are what you choose to become, not what they told you that you are." This belief of, "That's just how I am," is like a cage without a lock. You believe so strongly that you're trapped, that you never try to escape. But the door is open. It always has been. Your mind is like a field. What you plant in it every day, thoughts, words, habits, becomes what you reap. If you plant, "I'm anxious," you'll harvest explosions. If you plant, "I'm weak," you'll reap giving up. But if you start planting other seeds, even small ones, everything begins to change. Imagine two people facing the same difficulty. One says, "That's just how I am, there's no way." They freeze. They become stuck in the old pattern. The other says, "I have this pattern, but I can reprogram myself." They start to change. The difference isn't in the situation, but in the story they tell themselves. Stoicism teaches us that thought comes before action, and action comes before change. In other words, changing your life starts with rewriting what you believe about yourself. And here's your mission too. Rewrite your internal dialogue. Replace "I'm just this way" with "I'm learning to become different." Repeat this like a warrior who refuses to accept invisible chains. Because when you change what you say to yourself, you change what you do. And when you change what you do, you change who you are. You are not a rock. You are clay, and you can be molded every single day. The daily choice. Virtue versus vice. Every day, you wake up to a battlefield in front of you. But it's not a war outside. It's within. A silent war between your highest self and your weakest self. Between virtue and vice. Seneca wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Life doesn't happen in grand moments. It happens through 1,000 small choices. Each of these choices feeds one of the sides. Either you strengthen what builds you up, or you strengthen what tears you down. Let's simplify this. Imagine that inside you there are two wolves. One is the wolf of virtue, calm, strong, just, disciplined. The other is the wolf of vice, impulsive, lazy, jealous, vain. Every day they fight, and you decide who wins by what you feed. If you feed anger, the wolf of vice grows stronger. If you cultivate silence in the face of provocation, the wolf of virtue gains strength. Virtue is everything that makes you greater than your ego. Self-control, courage, justice, wisdom. Vice is everything that makes you smaller than you were born to be. Complacency, fear, lack of control, arrogance. Now consider this contrast. Those who live in vice wake up late, get irritated easily, get distracted by anything, seek immediate pleasure, blame others, and live on autopilot. This person is alive, but not awake. They have become slaves to their own desires. Those who walk in virtue wake up with intention, face their own monsters, take responsibility, improve 1% each day. They know they're not perfect, but are in a state of evolution. This person doesn't control the world, but controls themselves, and that changes everything. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts, and thoughts shape choices." You don't have to do everything perfectly today. You just have to do better than yesterday. Your mission, it starts now. Choose virtue in the small things to conquer the big ones. Choose silence over pointless arguments. Choose to get up instead of procrastinating. Choose to think twice before acting on emotion. Choose to be better, even when no one is watching. This won't transform you overnight, but it will start to mold something new inside you. Real strength. Not the kind that shows off, but the kind that sustains you from within. And if you mess up, great. Stoics made mistakes too. The difference is, they learned, they started over, and they kept going. You don't need eternal motivation. You just need daily courage. Courage to choose the harder path, because you know it's the right one. Living with virtue is choosing the pain that teaches instead of the comfort that weakens. So today, make your choice. Feed the right wolf. Build the warrior you know you can be. Because in the end, peace of mind doesn't come from conquering the world, but from conquering yourself. Stoic journey. The mind is a battlefield. You are in a war. Only this isn't a war with weapons, bombs, or enemies outside. It's an invisible war inside your head. And every day, when you wake up, this battle restarts. To conquer others is strength. To conquer yourself is power. Lao Tzu, as later quoted by Stoics. Stoic philosophy teaches, life is a training ground. The mind is the battlefield. And like any battlefield, it's full of ambushes. Ambush 1, accelerated thinking. That flood of thoughts that hits you upon waking, bills, problems, fears, obligations, all at once. You try to focus, but you get lost. Your mind races and pushes you toward chaos. Ambush 2, weak will. You know when you promise to do something, but don't. You start off excited and then stop halfway. It's the vice of procrastination disguised as tiredness. The mind screams, later, and you obey. Ambush 3, attachment to the uncontrollable. You suffer over something someone said. You get upset about things not going as planned. You keep reliving the past or imagining futures that don't even exist. All of this drains your strength. Ambush 4, constant judgment. You look at others and compare yourself. You feel inferior, or you judge others' mistakes to hide your own flaws. This contaminates the mind with pride or insecurity. Mission 4, start your day with silence. Before checking your phone, look within, breathe, write, pray, meditate. Do anything that puts you in charge before the world invades your mind. The first battle of the day starts in the first minutes after you open your eyes, and most of the time you're losing this war without even realizing it. The alarm goes off and your hand goes straight for the phone. Notifications, news, messages, problems that aren't even yours yet. Everything invades your mind before you've even taken a deep breath. And by the time you realize it, you're already running, speeding, anxious, without focus, without center, without command. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, said that a man needs to prepare his soul before facing the world. And that preparation starts in silence. Before looking outside, look inside. Silence isn't the absence of sound. Silence is space. Space for the mind to breathe, for the body to align, for the spirit to awaken. So here's your mission. Before anything else, be silent. Breathe deeply. Breathing is returning to the present. Each conscious inhalation says, I'm alive. I'm here. I have power over my day. Write. Grab your notebook or Stoic journal and note down, what can I control today? How do I want to behave? What kind of person do I choose to be? Even if everything goes wrong, pray or meditate. You don't need to follow a religion. Prayer can be gratitude. Meditation can be focus. What matters is creating a moment of connection with something larger than the rush. Because when you start your day this way, something changes. You're no longer reacting to the world. You're commanding your internal world. You're taking the helm of your mind. This isn't fluff, it's warrior training. The Stoic begins the day as one sharpens their sword, prepared, calm, aligned with their values. The world outside will try to pull you into chaos. But when you start your day in silence, you create an invisible armor. You enter traffic without losing your calm. You enter work without anxiety. You enter conflicts with discernment, because you've already won the first battle of the day, the battle of not being swallowed by urgency. And over time, this silent morning ritual shapes your mind. You realize that you don't have to start the day in a rush. You can start anchored. And when you begin from the center, everything around you may spin, but you remain steady. So before the world invades your mind, fill it with presence. Before the confusion begins, install peace. Before the hustle arrives, choose your direction. This is your mission. Start the day with silence, because those who begin the day in control end the day in peace. Mission 5. Break the inertia with a small victory. Just one. Wash the dishes, make your bed. Read for 10 minutes from a Stoic text. Don't wait for motivation. Create momentum, because action heals laziness and ignites the flame of discipline. There are days when everything feels heavy. The bed holds you down, your thoughts freeze, and your body wants to stay still. You look at your to-do list, your commitments, your goals, and all you feel is exhaustion. It's not a lack of ability, it's inertia. And do you know what breaks inertia? A single victory. Just one. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be real. Get up from bed and make it. Put on some calming music and wash the dishes. Grab a book by Seneca or Epictetus and read for 10 minutes. Just that. A small action. Does it seem too simple? That's exactly the secret. Because what holds you back isn't the weight of tasks. It's the weight of mental paralysis. The habit of waiting to feel like it. To have the will. To be inspired. But Stoics never waited for inspiration. They believed that the right action shapes character. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You do not need more time, you need more action." In other words, will doesn't come before action. It comes after. Do you want to escape procrastination? Don't try to conquer the entire day. Win the first 5 minutes. Wash your face. Make your bed. Breathe deeply. Read one page. Just one. Because action is like fire. A spark becomes a flame. The flame turns into discipline. And discipline leads to transformation. These small victories send a silent message to your mind. I started. I can do this. I am in control. And that's what changes the game. With each victory, you build a memory of action. You train your brain to understand that you don't need to wait for motivation to arrive. You act despite it not being there. The Stoic mind is not guided by emotion. It is guided by decision. And each small decision creates a chain of strength. Today you make your bed. Tomorrow you wake up earlier. The day after, you're reading for 20 minutes. In a week, you're writing your own Stoic journal. And before you know it, discipline has become part of you. But it all started with washed dishes, with a made bed, with a single page read, with a single victory. So here's your mission. Don't fight against the entire day. Don't try to control everything. Win one battle, just one, and then win the next. This is the strength that Stoics cultivated, the strength of a simple, firm, and constant step, because action heals laziness and ignites the flame of discipline. Epictetus said, "Some things are under our control, others are not." Mission 6. Classify your thoughts. Is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, let go. Train this like a warrior trains with a sword. The Stoic does not flee from pain, but they do not suffer by choice. You don't have control over everything. You can't control the weather, traffic, other people's moods, government decisions, the past or the future. But there is one thing you can always control: how you choose to react. This is one of the most powerful keys of Stoicism. Epictetus said, "Some things are under our control, others are not." It seems simple, but this phrase has the power to free you from a lifetime of anguish. Your mission now is to train a mental skill that will change the way you live. Classify your thoughts. Whenever a problem arises, ask, "Is this within my control?" If the answer is yes, act, get up, face it, do what you can. But if the answer is no, let go. Free yourself from the prison of illusionary control. This practice is not passivity, it's wisdom. It's like a warrior who knows when to fight and when to sheathe their sword, because it isn't wise to expend energy on lost battles, but it is powerful to channel energy where it makes a difference. Visual example. Imagine a circle. Inside it is what you can control: your actions, your words, your choices, your habits, your thoughts. Outside of it are the things you cannot control: other people's opinions, the past, the future, what has already happened, nature. The more time you spend trying to control what is outside, the weaker, more frustrated, and more exhausted you will become. But the more energy you invest in what is within your circle, the stronger, calmer, and more powerful you will be. This mental classification is like training with a sword. You need to practice every day. At first, it feels forced, but over time it becomes instinct. You start to recognize, this is up to me, I can change. This is outside of me, it doesn't deserve my suffering. And thus your mind becomes light, your heart finds peace, and you gain focus. Because all pain that isn't your responsibility doesn't have to be your prison. The Stoic doesn't flee from pain. They confront what needs to be faced, but they don't suffer by choice. They don't carry the weight of the world that isn't theirs. Your mind is your sword, and each thought you classify is a precise cut against chaos. So here is your mission. Every time something disturbs your peace, stop and ask, is it within my control? If yes, transform it. If no, let go. This simple habit can be the start of your freedom. And freedom in the end is this: choosing where your energy will reside. Mission 7. Focus on yourself. Observe others without envy or condemnation. Everyone is fighting their own battle, and no one wins by judging. We only win by training. This journey is solitary, yes, but it is also sacred, because with every mission accomplished, you move closer to a new you, more steadfast, more lucid, more free. Visualize the transformation. Imagine waking up without anxiety dominating you. Imagine looking at challenges with clarity. Imagine responding calmly to provocations. Imagine doing what needs to be done even without motivation. Imagine living lightly, even in the face of problems. This is possible. Not easy, but possible. And it doesn't depend on the world. It depends on your mind. What holds you back is not what lies ahead. It's what you allow within you. Seneca. You are both the soldier and the general, the battle and the strategy, the mind and the shield. So don't underestimate small habits. An observed thought can prevent a disaster. A daily habit can change a destiny. A no said to temptation can strengthen your spirit for an entire week. And do you know what the ancient Stoics valued most? Consistency. Not perfection, not grand victories, but the courage to keep going every single day, without applause, without an audience, just you and your conscience. So today, you don't have to win at life. You just need to conquer the next battle, the next emotion, the next impulse, the next choice. Because every small victory in the mind is a significant victory in the soul. Visualization of the Stoic future: peace, power, and purpose. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. You wake up early before the world starts to make noise. Your mind is quiet. You don't rush to your phone. You don't drown in notifications. You breathe. You remember that you are alive. You remember that you are in control of the only thing that truly matters: yourself. This is the Stoic life in action. Not a perfect life, but a steady life. Not a life without pain, but a life with purpose. Imagine that your thoughts no longer attack you like arrows. They come, and you observe them. You don't react. You choose. You act with clarity. Speak with calm. Decide with awareness. Now think about how it would be to live without being pushed all the time, by the fear of what others will think, by the anger from those who provoked you, by the anxiety of what hasn't even happened yet. You now walk at your own pace. You know what is under your control and what is not, and this simple awareness liberates you. Peace is not in having everything resolved, but in learning to deal with what cannot be resolved. Marcus Aurelius. Now visualize your routine. You work with more focus. You train your body with discipline. You nourish your spirit with reading and silence. Your relationships improve because you no longer respond with venom. You've learned to observe before reacting, to serve before complaining, to listen before judging. You live less like a victim and more like the author of your own story. You realize the world remains chaotic, but within you, there is order. Now picture your difficult days. They keep coming. Of course they do, but you are no longer dragged by them. You feel the impact, but you get back up more quickly. You do suffer, yes, but you don't surrender. You've learned that pain is part of life, but despair is a choice. This is the power of Stoicism. It doesn't promise that everything will get better outside. It gives you the tools to stay strong inside. Imagine living with a calm heart and a sharp mind, with presence, with direction, with non-negotiable values such as courage, justice, wisdom, and moderation. Values that make you great inside, even if no one sees. And the best part, you inspire without speaking. You guide without imposing. You become a reference for who you are, not for what you show. This is your Stoic future. Less hurry, more intention, less distraction, more presence, less "I need to be admired," more "I need to be coherent." And this isn't fantasy. It's the result of a real path, of choices made every day, of battles won inside your own mind. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." So stop and think. What image do you want to build of yourself? What invisible legacy do you want to leave in the world? You can start today. You can live like a Stoic amid chaos. You can find true peace, inner power, and firm purpose within you. Everything begins with a choice, philosophy, and practice. Small daily changes. Now that you know the theory and the greatness of Stoicism, it's time to bring this philosophy into your daily practice. Because in the end, philosophy is pointless if it doesn't transform you, if it isn't applied every day. How to apply Stoicism in your daily life. In the morning upon waking, start with a deep breath. Don't rush to your phone. Don't let yourself be consumed by immediate problems. Breathe and remember, what's around you is outside your control, but what happens inside you, that is in your hands. Wake up with a mindset of peace and focus. Epictetus once said, "Don't start the day with anger, fear, or desire. Start with a calm and centered mind." At this moment, write in your Stoic journal, "What can I control today? What is outside my control?" Simple, isn't it? But with this daily practice, your mind begins to get accustomed to the power of conscious choice, choosing not to be disturbed by what doesn't depend on you. Over the days, this creates a silent yet immense shift. Each morning becomes a victory over anxiety, over chaos. In your work, whatever your profession, Stoic philosophy applies here too. If someone provokes or criticizes you, don't react with anger. Breathe and observe the moment. You have the power to choose how you will respond. Anger solves nothing. It only destroys inner peace, Seneca taught. Instead of reacting impulsively, breathe and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I stay calm and remain productive? Over time, this creates a lighter work environment, free of emotional wear and tear. You start to realize that true strength is not an explosion, but calmness in the storm. And in conflicts, our days are filled with them, whether personal or professional. But here's the trick. Conflicts don't arise to defeat us, but to test us. When someone irritates or challenges you, think, I control my response. I control what I think and what I do. It's not what happens, but how you react that defines your destiny. Marcus Aurelius. The key is to take nothing personally. This frees you from unnecessary emotions and brings clarity to your actions. How to maintain this daily flow. The Stoic journal technique is a daily practice that helps maintain focus. At the end of each day, write, what did I control well today? Where did I fail? What can I improve tomorrow? Reflect on what was good and what needs adjusting. Without judgment, just learning. Small daily actions like these begin to add up. At first it may seem insignificant, but over time the effect is huge. The accumulated result. From one simple step a day, you will see a significant effect over weeks and months. You become more centered, calmer, wiser. Your relationships improve, you handle difficulties more peacefully, and your inner peace strengthens. Thus, Stoicism naturally infiltrates your life, like water shaping the rock. It's not a radical change all at once. It's a gradual but steady process. Every small step, every conscious choice, makes you a stronger person. Mission 6. Build Stoic habits. Morning, noon, and night. Repeat this every day. Upon waking, remember what is within your control. Throughout the day, be mindful of your reactions. At night, reflect on your progress. When you start living with these simple yet powerful habits, change will come naturally. Stoicism isn't about grand gestures. It's about the small daily choices that shape us. Ultimately, the sum of these choices leads to profound transformation. Now, imagine yourself back in those internal battles you faced during the video. Each one was an opportunity for growth. Every ambush you overcame, every challenge you confronted, made you a stronger and wiser person. You've learned to control your reactions. You've realized that true freedom lies within you. You've come to understand that when you change, the world around you begins to change. Every step you've taken has been a silent yet powerful victory. You've tackled racing thoughts and now know how to calm your mind first thing in the morning. You've mastered procrastination and, little by little, learned to take action without relying solely on motivation. You've let go of your attachment to the uncontrollable and embraced the art of releasing what you cannot control. You've faced constant judgment and now focus solely on your own growth. And most importantly, you are in control of your life because you've chosen to change your mind. Now visualize you, calmer and more centered. Life goes on with all its challenges, but you are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are the protagonist. And the difference is clear. You are stronger now, more free, more capable. What once seemed impossible has become possible. Stoicism has equipped you with the tools, and now you know you can live a life of peace, power, and purpose, regardless of what the world throws at you. Now, listen to these words, for they carry profound weight. The world will continue to test you, but the mind that masters itself is free in any prison. You might be in the midst of difficulties right now, or perhaps you're facing the greatest storm of your life. But the truth is that nothing can imprison you if you keep your mind free. True freedom starts within you, in how you choose to respond to the world. So, I ask you now, are you ready to begin this transformation now? Transformation doesn't start when everything changes. It starts when you change, and that begins today, right now, because you have the power, you have the strength, and you have the mind. Now is the time to use everything you've learned and put it into action. Transformation starts with a choice, and that choice is yours. If you are committed to this change, if you are ready to live like a Stoic, like this video, comment below with the phrase, "I choose to change." Share this video with your friends because everyone deserves the chance to change their lives too. Together, we can build a community of individuals who choose to live more wisely, serenely, and strong. Remember, transformation starts now. The change is in your hands.